This
Robinson.
conference will now be recorded.
Robinson. Yes. Oldham. Yes. Marshall. Here. Bogus.
Here.
Hiller. Here. Cross. Yes. Foster.
Here.
Bliss. Here.
Great. Now I'd like to move to service awards, and we have some very exciting ones this evening. We have multiple guys receiving 30 years of service awards, which we are very, very thankful for you and so happy that you have stayed with us so long. So I would please like to call Chief Irwin up to present some awards, please.
Good evening, everybody. This evening we are celebrating Battalion Chief Ken Schlusselman's 30-year anniversary. I told him I had 14 pages of stuff to write, but he'd hit me if I got through that far. So we are here tonight to celebrate Chief Schlusselman's 30 years of service to the citizens of Sedalia and the Sedalia Fire Department. I have had the privilege to work with him my entire career. I could spend most of the evening tonight telling stories about him, but knowing him, he'd get mad. Ken is a solid firefighter and chief officer who has done a number of things over his career to include fire investigation. He stepped up when the department was transitioning into requiring Fire 1 and 2 for all of our firefighters. He took the course, obtaining his certifications, even though he was not required to. He again stepped up when we transitioned to running EMS calls by successfully obtaining his EMTB certification, again, without being required to. The department has made a number of significant changes over his career. What has not changed is his determination to be the best at what he does and to be a solid foundation and a voice of calm during the storm, sometimes at great peril to myself. He is also the first to question the why of what we do, not to discredit or fight against, but to better understand what we do so he can be the best at it and lead his shift onto the correct path. He's also the first person to come to me and let me know when I made a mistake. He lets me know in no certain terms how he feels about it. It is that I respect most about him. Never insulting or degrading, but always forthcoming and to the point. There is no beating around the bush with Ken. You know where you stand with him at all times. So tonight I say congratulations to my colleague, mentor, thorn in my side, but most importantly, my friend, Ken Schlusselman. Congratulations. You do. Hey.
So, just for clarification, tell them what your real name is. No. What's your real name? Dozer. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Next, I would please like to call up Director Davies for some awards as well, please.
So, for those of you who don't know me, I am the Public Works Director for the city. I've been here 6 months, and my whole career I've worked with Dave here. I don't have a lot of stories. I do know that I can rely on Dave. He's very respectful. He knows the city, and probably you know him better than I do. He's a great person to work for. If I had everybody like him on my staff, not saying the rest of the staff is bad, but we would get a lot more done. He is very energetic, willing to go that extra mile to get things done. And for me, being the interim director, it's very appreciative to have a person like this of this caliber here in Public Works. So Dave, thank you for 30 years of service.
Thank you.
And hopefully another 30 years. I'm going to have Dave call up the next person,
Okay.
but I'm not that familiar.
However you guys like to do.
The next one we've got is Brian Allen.
he's been here for 5 years. He's water treatment plant operator. He's working day shift now. Reliable. He goes the extra mile. I mean, he's been covering some overtime and stuff like that for all of us. And he's been working as a fill-in on service tech and stuff like that, and taking on calls where he don't really need to, but he does. He's just an asset to the public works. So I don't think we could do a whole lot without the dedication that he's got. There you are. Thank you.
Hopefully you'll stay as long as you can. Thank you. Well, okay, we're going to hold you to that. Thank you, guys. Next, we have a special award, and I would please like to call up Chief Irwin to present that tonight.
So it's fitting, Chief Schlesselman was receiving his 30-year award. Firefighter Allen, if I could have you come to the front with his wife, Leslie. Firefighter Allen is receiving his badge tonight. Coincidentally enough, he is on Chief Schlesselman's shift. So one guy at the top of his career, one guy starting his career. Firefighter Allen has completed his probationary packet and met all the requirements to wear the badge of the Sedalia Fire Department. Firefighter Allen is a quiet person who goes about doing his job in a very professional manner, and we are very proud of the firefighter he has become with us. Mr. Allen is a graduate of the Holt Summit Fire Academy, an organization that we work closely with as we send our students and instructors there to complete our fire academies as well as theirs. He's an example of how we recruit personnel from these classes. He is here tonight with his wife Leslie and their children, who will be pinning him. We are very privileged to recognize him here this evening as one of the newest members of the Sedalia Fire Department. Firefighter Allen, congratulations. Don't put it through a thumb.
Oh, no.
Perfect. Okay. Just get on your hands. Stand me quick. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Yay.
Okay. Next, I would like to, approve the previous minutes.
Motion approved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we will move on to roll call of standing committees. Public Safety, Chairman Robinson.
We have several items this evening. The first is a presentation by Danielle Lauder, who's Director of the Pettis County Joint Communications Budget. Interestingly enough, on the Kansas City Evening News tonight, they had a story about one of the communications districts is $900,000 in deficit because they were funding it with landline taxes, which didn't work out.
The landline tax actually can no longer support the 911 system
No,
because there's
obviously.
no landlines available.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. I get the opportunity to give you guys an overview of what we've done this year. We're going to be looking at several different items of activity and where our agency is standing at the moment. I am happy to report that we are fully staffed. We are fully staffed. We are not fully trained just yet. And that we do have 2 new recruit classes going through the training program right now. I've got 1 class that is scheduled to be released at the end of December, and I have 1 class that is scheduled to be released a few weeks after that, the first half of January. I can say that everybody has been trained in handling law enforcement calls, and I've got just a very small percentage that has still the need for obtaining their fire and EMS services. As far as activity for the year of 2023, we are on par with 2022, and we are estimated to possibly exceed it by just a little bit. We're averaging approximately 2,000 calls per week. That's between both administrative and 911 lines. The 2023 numbers that you see up there is taken through the end of September. Unfortunately, I don't have October up there. Whenever you include outgoing calls, we actually produce 110,000 calls annually, so we are a very busy center even for a smaller community. Looking at the same information month over month, the 911 lines are on the lower side and the administrative calls are on the upper side, and they're exactly where they were the year before as far as trend lines. I don't see any decline in the need of services anytime soon. As far as the calls for service breaking down by discipline, law enforcement is obviously the busiest of our disciplines that we work with. And as far as agency-specific information, the Sedalia Police Department is the busiest, followed by the Sheriff's Office, and then the Sedalia Fire Department. Nationally, there's an expected answer time of 5 seconds or less to answer a 911 line. In 2022, we were answering in 4.1 seconds, and this year we're averaging 3.9. So we've been able to bring that down just a little bit. As far as the administrative answers, we're actually within reason on that. We've got 5.2 for 2022 and 4.7 for 2023. Looking forward into 2024, one of the things that I have established as a goal for Pettis County Joint Communications is to receive NCMEC certification, which is the Missing Kids Readiness Program. As of right now, there are no rural agencies in the state of Missouri that hold this certification. This certification requires specific training in handling missing persons cases. I say missing persons because it doesn't matter if it's juvenile or adult. And it doesn't matter the circumstances, whether it be of foul play suspected or if someone had walked away. The NCMEC certification determines that we are ready and capable of handling those situations as they arise. Right now, the application has been submitted for the first initial review. We're waiting the response for any recommendations or advisements that we can take to pursue our formal application. I'm anticipating to receive that back by December 1st so that we can resubmit and get that in there as quickly as possible. With the extensive revision that we've had on the training program this year, we're also going to be pursuing the APCO training program certification. As of right now, there are no agencies in the state of Missouri at any level or affiliations that hold that certification, but it will attest to our program complying with national standards, expectations, and compliance. Something that's very interesting right now is the Next Gen 911 grant funding sources that are available through the Missouri 911 Service Board. The federal government has allotted 50% of the grants. The state of Missouri has supplied an additional 40%, which means that this is only a 10% match for a local agency, as long as the grant is written to pursue next-gen services. We've also established a goal to have 100% of all operators be certified in handling crisis intervention. Right now, we're at 75%. We're also looking to get one negotiator per shift to help support our law enforcement efforts. And we're also going to be expanding our peer support programs and quality assurance so that we can pursue ACE accreditation in 2025. As far as the next gen information, next gen is a very complex topic, and it can be a little tricky to break down. But what next gen is next generation 911. To understand NextGen, you need to understand that what we currently have is considered a legacy infrastructure that holds up the 911 system. Everything that brings a 911 call into a 911 center was actually built in 1968. The parts needed to repair that system are no longer made. Because of that, there's been a push to go to a next-gen platform. As of right now, there's no federal mandates making it a requirement. However, while there's not one today, there's no guarantee that there won't be one in the future. With the legacy systems, there's a lot of errors and a lot of limitations that hold back what we can and can't do. Without a next-gen system, we can't process true text to 911 calls. And it's very challenging whenever it comes to a disaster recovery mode because we're reliant upon other people to route those calls for us. Whereas with next-gen EZNet, the network itself is established to withhold the mobile calls that we're receiving. Right now, less than 2% of all of our calls for service are actually landline phones. So that means that the system bringing us all of these mobile calls is actually only handling 2% of what we actually do. So there's a very large discrepancy in the amount of calls that we're getting versus the technology that actually brings that to us. With a next-gen platform, it creates a more efficient disaster recovery mode. For recovery, you would literally only need an internet connection, and we can get our 911 calls. And it takes just a matter of minutes to make that happen versus a extended reroute time going through a legacy provider. In addition to a EZNet, we would also qualify for a next-gen call handling service, which is a hosted solution. And with the hosted solution, if we were to evacuate the center, we could actually go to any center in the country and sit down and answer our calls if we needed to. Going to a hosted solution actually reduces our contractual obligations by approximately $37,000. So this would be a cost-saving effort if we were to be able to receive this award. With that, I'm going to be showing two budgets this evening, a base budget and then a budget with a grant consideration. The Pettis County 911 Advisory Board has recommended to attempt to pursue the grants. Of course, grants are not guaranteed, but we have to make plans for if we do and if we don't. So the first thing I'm going to show you is the baseline budget without the grant. You'll see a significant increase in the requested salary expenditures. Salaries I have proposed of increasing of $84,000. The reason why this increase is being requested is because I'm requesting 2 additional positions. With 2 additional positions and stacking the schedule, we'll be able to drive that answer point down even lower, and we're going to be able to provide better services to our field responders over the air. Benefits also increase, and those benefits are directly tied to those 2 positions. With the 2 additional positions, I'm actually able to decrease the shift differential slightly from 2022. The wage increase that I have proposed this year ranges between 1.5 and 3%, dependent upon the position of the person, the longevity with the agency, and their duties and responsibilities. No one would be receiving anything more than 3%. The agency as a whole has not received any kind of wage increase since August of 2022. With our expenditures, the significant increase in expenditures going into 2024 is going to be contractual services. Contractual services actually increases just over $90,000 from the previous year. And the reason why this has increased is because whenever we stood up the center, everything was under warranties and We had techs that were covering everything for us, and we have reached the end of those contracts, and I now am required to pay for the maintenance contracts to make sure that our equipment maintains appropriately. Unfortunately, those costs are non-negotiable. There's nothing I can do about bringing those costs down. The telephone services are also increasing this year as well, and I have looked for more affordable options. However, none have been identified as being suitable, integrating with what we're currently working with in the legacy environment. So until we can identify an alternative, unfortunately, this is the price that the provider is giving us. Our overall expenditures for 2024 are proposed to be $435,000 and some change. And the tricky part. Right now, our current revenues have not increased since 2020. As it stands, our current revenues coming in are 1.5. And with our proposed expenditures and our current revenue values, we'll end 2024 with a negative $30,000. Based upon the contracts of Pettis County Joint Communications, dividing that amount between the three subscribing entities, it would provide an increase in paying services of $16,163. In doing so, that would give us a total revenue of, sorry, my contacts are blurry for a second. Total revenue of 1.138. Because we can safely predict that our any device is going to produce 415,000. It has been trending up year over year, but it is a very slow trend. The statewide prepaid tax should be reduced to 25,000 from the 27.5 of 2022 because it is just not performing as well as it is hoped to have been. Comparing the proposed revenues against the expenditures for 2024, that would leave us with a projected end of year at 27,851. That's the base budgetary proposal for 2024. I'd like to show you what's going to happen if we receive the grant. So with the grant considerations, our contractual services decreased by approximately $37,000 down to $270,000. Our telephone services are going to decrease to $57,000. However, in this first year of the grant cycle, there is a line item for the grant match of $80,000. That would be our 10% of what we would need to bring in the next gen platform and the hosted call handling system. So while there is a slight increase in the overall expenditures, it's offset with the grant considerations because the grant would be providing $725,000. That $725,000 is not included in the end of year rollover at the end of 2024 because those funds are strictly applied to the grant item and the items purchased through that grant service. So there is a significant increase into the overall revenue, but 725 of that has to be restricted to specifically next-gen services identified in the application. Comparing the revenue with the grant considerations and our expenditures, that would give us a end-of-year rollover of 15,579. So while the end of year would decrease, the services that we would be providing to the community as well as to the responders would significantly increase, and it would provide overall cost savings because with this 10% match, that gives us more buying power with every dollar that we're taking to the table with the 911 board. Does anyone have any questions? I feel like I ran through this pretty fast this year.
How many other places try to get that grant? Are there?
They all are.
Everyone. So
yes. There's 8 counties in southeast Missouri right now that have no 911 services at all.
wow.
And I know that they have proposed to build a regional 911 center covering all 8. There's over $20 million available and it is awarded on a first-come, first-served basis. They are not holding applications until a specific date. They are reviewing applications as they come in and awarding based upon the application as they have it in front of them. So the board has recommended to at least attempt to pursue the grant. It is a unique opportunity because the NextGen platform is incredibly expensive. If we had to buy it outright, it would be over $1 million. And this is a huge opportunity to save a lot of money. And the fact that we can recover faster in a disaster situation, I think that is a huge point in the importance of it. The additional peripheral benefits to it, we can get text services. We can text 911 back and forth directly with the caller. I've seen all kinds of comments, why don't we have this here? We don't have this here because we don't have the NextGen platform. And we can't do it without that. The location services available on the NextGen platform, right now using the triangulation method with the cell towers and a phase 2 status on that, we can get decently close to somebody. However, with a NextGen platform, you can actually get within visible feet of somebody. And the quality of the data transfers that's coming in is amazing. And the platform itself builds a geofence around Pettis County in that the 4% of calls that we receive that have to be transferred back to Johnson County, Benton County, or wherever, they don't come in here. So it builds a geofence around the county. It will slightly reduce our call volume, not enough to make a huge impact, but it will help those people be routed quicker to where they need to be.
So when can you apply for this?
I believe the application has already started. The application system is already open. It opened September 1st, and I know that we have spent several weeks gathering information and making a determination of an appropriate provider, looking at the timelines of deployments. The board has endorsed AT&T as the platform provider, and they have an actual deployment timeline of approximately 6 months. All of the other providers that we've interviewed and evaluated had a build time of 18 to 24 months. So we'll be able to implement within 2024. It won't be a project that we're paying for that we don't get for however long. We would have it within 2024.
So do I understand that we have in fact started the procedure applying for the grant? Who decides that? I haven't heard yet who decides that and that we're going to do it. If it's first come, first served, we should be doing it.
Right. So the Pettis County 911 Board supported the vote to pursue that application process, and the Pettis County Grant Director, James Tyson, has agreed to write that grant application for us, and we have collected all of the supporting documentation that we need, and at this point it's a matter of sitting down and writing it.
So it's underway, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yes,
will you go back to the slide with the, and with all the expenditures with the grant?
Here,
With
expenditures.
equipment and the various
Yes.
things. And I'm trying to soak this up real quick. New equipment, $3,455. Where's the big expenditure? Is it, if we get the grant, that the grant is for how much, or,
The grant match line,
okay, is
That-
the $80,000?
that's the 80,000
Right.
that we would be responsible for.
But that match gives us an ability to house things essentially in the cloud, and
Yes,
we
absolutely.
don't need much more equipment. We only need
Correct. It's
$3,200
right.
more equipment.
It is not an equipment platform itself. It's
Service.
more of a cloud service.
Okay.
We will have some equipment on site. AT&T provides a cellular failover point with an EC Cradle Point that if any time our fiber becomes damaged or challenged, it will automatically roll over to cellular services, and then we would be receiving our 911 calls cellular.
So we've got the match expenditure, the contractual services, though, I thought you said were actually less in 2024 than they were.
So with the grant match option, the contractual services decreased to 270, because what's happening there, if we transition to the hosted platform for call handling services, we'll be removing the requirements for Motorola CallWorks, and the CallWorks platform has a $37,000 maintenance.
Trade and it's a win-win.
Yes.
Okay. Do you need anything from us besides encouragement?
The only thing I would need, sir, would be a vote to support the increase in funding.
Okay. I so move.
Yeah, we don't,
Yep.
yeah, we don't do that tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
We're getting ready for budgeting, but,
Yeah, but that's starts, not yet.
but when is that?
What we'll have is a June,
January.
till January seventh,
Something like that.
seventh,
Don't-
14th.
Don't you think?
We have a budget work session.
Something like this, it's first come, first served, should be addressed.
But they're already tackling the grant.
Yeah, I don't think we're involved in the grant. She was meeting,
I understand that, I'm just talking about the support that we should show. Okay, whatever.
any other questions? All right. I would like to thank you for your commitment to public safety and your local responder networks. It is truly appreciated.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, next is, we're gonna need a budget amendment and a resolution and an ordinance, because we have bicycles on the police department now, and because of the generosity of Sonny Broyles and Pruitt Insurance Agency, they have specialized bicycle flights, and he donated $1,600, which covers almost all the lights and stuff. So we need a budget amendment to incorporate that into the budget.
Okay, I'd like to call for the resolution, please.
Resolution 2062, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, stating facts and reasons for the necessity to amend and increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion on this? No? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now I'd please like to call for the reading of the ordinance.
Bill number 2023-206, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 regarding purchase of police bicycle lights.
Second reading?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I would just like to thank Sonny Broyles and to Chief Irwin, make sure you thank him personally from the council. I'm sorry, Chief Works. Too many Matts. Anyway, thank him personally for the council for his contribution to the police department for buying those lights.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-206, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 regarding purchase of police bicycle lights.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
August,
Yes.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross, Foster,
Yes.
Bliss,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Oldham,
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
All in favor.
Okay, we have, an assistance to firefighters grant for purchase of radios and repeaters, which we did once before, 3 months, or in September, but it's taken so long to get it done that, the offer expired for the prices, and the prices went up. So, there's a grant, but it's, the grant award will not increase, so we need to have an ordinance amending to absorb the difference.
Okay, I'd like to call for the reading of the resolution, please.
Resolution 2063, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, stating facts and reasons for the necessity to amend and increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, now I'd like to call for the reading of the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-207, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and approving and accepting quotes for the purchase of radios and repeaters for the fire department.
Second reading.
Second.
Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-207, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and approving and accepting quotes for the purchase of radios and repeaters for the fire department.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Hiller,
Yes.
Cross,
Yes.
Foster,
Yes.
Bliss,
Yes.
Robinson,
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
All in favor.
Next item is authorization of grant submission by the police department for communications equipment. Chief, would you like to address that, please?
There's some funding available for communication equipments, in this specific instance for radios. We are in need of replacing the radios in of our police cars. Many of them are somewhere between 15 and 20 years old. This grant provides for a 50-50 match on the funding, so we want to try to see what we can get out of it and hopefully replace a lot of the radios with some support with the grant.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Call for the resolution, please.
Resolution 2064, a resolution authorizing the Sedalia Police Department to act as an agent for the city of Sedalia in the application process for the SFY 2024 American Rescue Plan Act State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund, First Responder and Interoperable Communications Equipment Grant to be utilized by the Sedalia Police Department.
Motion approved. Second.
Is there any council discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Final one is an authorization of grant submission by the fire department for facility construction. Would you like to speak to that, sir?
So this is the same grant that the police department also, it's the same fiscal grant, ARPA funds grant. And as the police department's going for communications, it is also a capital improvements project. So while it's open, sat down, we were trying to apply for a grant to pay for half of our fire station. So we were reapplying for that amount for half of the fire station. The 3.5 would be their half, yes.
Thank you. Call for the resolution, please.
Resolution 2065, a resolution authorizing the Sedalia Fire Department to act as agent for the city of Sedalia in the application process for the 2024 Department of Public Safety CIIEG grant to be utilized by the Sedalia Fire Department.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
And those opposed? Okay. Thank you very much. Now we would like to move on to Public Works. Chairman Oldham.
Thank you very much. In continuation with our strategic planning sessions and our presentations, Director Davies, our Public Works Interim Director, will present to us our street sanitation, mowing, and alley maintenance presentation.
Mayor Pro Tem, councilors, good evening. This is a pleasure talking to you for the first time about strategic planning. And as you know, part of that is what you'd tasked the Public Works Director in this position to look at the structure of Public Works going forward. After being here for 6 months and looking at all the different divisions, departments within Public Works, I have worked with Calvin, his city administrator, on this issue, and as you see before you, if you don't, I do have copies of this for anybody that would like to see it. Basically, what I am proposing is that we move basically into 3 major, I'm going to call them divisions within Public Works. We have what I'm going to call the Street Division, which is the Operations Director, streets, sanitation, mowing and abatement, and the concrete crew and the sign shop. So currently we're under that structure now. So nothing's really going to change in there to some degree. As you see off to the left, fleet maintenance is going to be moved over into asset management director. The other key things are under utilities. Currently we have the water plant and 3 wastewater plants, collections and distribution. Those currently are really 2 divisions within Public Works with direct reports to the Public Works Director position. I am suggesting that fall under a utility director, supervising all those divisions within there. And the reason for that is just because of where the city is headed in the future. You're looking at major improvements to the central plant, upgrades to the southeast plant, and potentially building a brand new plant to the north. And that's a big haul over the next 4 or 5 years. And then improvements to your collection and distribution systems. So, when you're starting to improve your water lines and all that, it just needs somebody to have more direct relationships with your with the people that are doing that kind of work. And then the other side of this coin is looking for a civil engineer for the city. And the reason I say that, right now the city outsources a lot of the smaller projects and review of private development and development that the city does in itself. So like if the city is going to do a water line, or if somebody's going to come in and do a development, whether it is a single-family home development or commercial, there's always typically public infrastructure that the city is going to take over. So whether it be a water line, sewer line, storm line, we outsource that now. I feel that in the city's best interest, it's better to have that in-house. There's more buy-in to it. There's also learning what the needs are of the city and being in touch with what's going on the other side of the utilities. Currently, we have the project manager already. City has authorized a GIS coordinator. We are in the process of hiring the utility locates. And then the stormwater management is my recommendation. Currently, right now, that position is being filled by one person doing both pre-treatment and stormwater. And that is a lot of work for one person to do, especially since both stormwater is a significant part of the city. We have an MPDES permit, and under our sewer permits, we also have to do pre-treatment, industrial pre-treatment. So that's my recommendation. I'll open it up for questions if you have any at this point on that.
So green are new positions you're proposing, and orange is Public Works Director is existing, but you're saying eliminate that one?
Not at this point.
The colors on your chart.
Right, no, that's
Am I reading that right?
The position is there. The new ones are in the green. Public Works, you just don't have anybody in there. I mean, you have me, but.
So it's gonna stay, it's orange, but it's staying, we just don't have a staff, right?
Correct.
I mean, that's you right now, you're gonna find a new person, but that's.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get the colors figured out.
Yes, Council.
Does anybody else have any questions? No? Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. So we will now move to the strategic plan for streets, sanitation, and the rest of the divisions within that. We could go to the next slide. So besides the citizens and your staff, what do you think is the most valuable asset the city has?
Our workers.
Pardon me?
Our workers.
Besides staff?
Equipment.
Your investment in your roads. You have 350 miles of road. If you were to have to replace it today, that's a $500 million investment. Does anybody know what condition our roads are in?
They're getting better.
I'm not disagreeing with that. but it's all visual or what you think is good or what you think is bad, right? So it's just kind of your own assessment of how the road rides and the potholes and the complaints and the concerns that you get. Not a bad way of assessing things, but there's really no, it's just you think it's good or I think it's bad. There are methods to look at this and do it in a, I'm going to call it an engineering way. If you look at your slide before you, basically this tells you that once you have a brand new road from the beginning, it's in excellent condition. And over time, they tend to start failing. But if you maintain roads at a certain level, it's easier to maintain them at a lower cost than waiting for them to deteriorate. Do I get this? I got this. Oh, look at this. I got control. I'm not sure which button. Anybody? There. Oh, look at that. There we go. Thank you. So the next slide shows you that basically that same process, that if you maintain your roads that are in a very good condition, it's cheaper to maintain those and spend $1 now versus waiting 10 years and spending more dollars to replace it. So you're extending the life of a road throughout the system. So what a pavement management system does is basically goes out, looks at, I'm going to kind of go through these because you can read through this, and I've got handouts so that you can look at it later, so you don't have to get all of this, try to figure it out all at once. Basically what you're trying to do is assess your roads in sections and say, what condition is this road in? Is it in good condition, excellent condition, poor, or has it failed? That's what you're trying to accomplish with a pavement management system. What it does for you is potentially saves you maintenance costs. Pavement does last longer. You gain a better understanding of the underlying problems, and it recommends, base and actual conditions, and then proven management gives you, long-term street repair costs. So like I said before, you spend $1 now and you save later. So here are the core questions that you really need to ask yourself when we go through this. If this is something the council really wants to do, because it's a decision by council, because this is where, if we don't do this, we continue to do the same process. We'll go look at the roads, we'll say, yep, this is the one we want to do, and then the political side gets in, well, my neighborhood needs it or it doesn't need it, and I understand that. That is all part of the whole process. All this what this does for you is provide you the opportunity to say, based solely on the condition of the road, this is what you should be doing this year or the next year. So it predicts what's going to happen. You look at your maintenance program and also what you want to invest into your roads each year. There's all sorts of manuals about this. It's a proven process. It's used across the United States. And again, it can measure both roads. It can do sidewalks. It was created by the Corps of Engineers a long time ago. And this kind of is what you will end up, if the city decides to do this, this is what you'll end up with. Basically, you may have, with the 350 miles of road that you have, you may have 10 miles that are excellent, that don't need any work this year or for the next 2 years. And then it just kind of rates it down. The key point is once you have the index, then it's council decision on where do you want those roads to stay. So let's just say you're at let's just use this graph, that you want all your roads to have an average of the whole system of 74. What this program does for you is say, to maintain that in your system, I'm just picking a number, you're going to have to spend $2 million a year to do that. If you don't want it that high and you want to keep it at 70, you may only have to spend $1.5 million. I can't tell you until we know what the conditions of the roads are. So this is an example of once we've done all the roads, you'll get a map like this showing you you know, how the roads are rated, what sections of road, and this gives you a visual of the whole system versus just numbers and that. There's all sorts of tools out there to do that, to do this with. And so these are just some of the tools that are inside of that. So what you end up with is you evaluate, once you have the program in place, you can evaluate what kind of maintenance you're doing now and how it's working. So for example, say you have a local road and it's a cul-de-sac, and based on your past maintenance, you decided that you need to seal coat it every 5 years. Yet you go out there and you keep looking at it every year, that seal coat really lasts 7 years on that road. So now you, instead of just going out and doing it because that's what you did in the past, you now say, okay, well, I don't have to do it for another 2 years. So you're taking those dollars and putting them somewhere where they really need them. So in summary, I'll let you read it, but this is a recommendation, at least for the street department, to move forward and provide you a tool to look at the dollars that you're spending in maintenance and reconstruction of roads and put some numbers behind it and some research behind it to do a better job of evaluating the roads that you need to do. Then also tells you that if you spend more money, what's it going to do to your system? Or if you say some year you have less money, what's going to do to your system? So it has all those tools in place. And to stop at that on the streets, and if there's any questions, be glad to answer best I can.
Correct me if I'm wrong, I believe what we discussed in the previous committee meeting was this will probably take a dedicated staff member for the first year or so, and then that staff member will migrate into a normal everyday public works position and then being brought back to analyze these streets over time and when it's time to recalibrate them.
Right. So if the program is something the city council wants to do, then basically you have to buy the program, staff it for the first year full-time, and then, excuse me, probably go out and have all the roads evaluated in 1 year. That's the best way to do it, is just capture the data. The following year, that staff person wouldn't need to spend the full year doing it. Other jobs could be accomplished with it.
I think one of our problems is, I think we have several streets in town that don't have any base at all. I think they just put asphalt right over the top of that. And I know that would be very expensive to find every street in town that didn't have a good base. To put a good base in and then asphalt it, I know that'd be very expensive.
Right, but we won't know that until it's all what we think is out there. This tells you, based on the technology that we have, what should happen. And it can give you that price.
Yeah.
And then you start making decisions based on engineering information.
Hey, Chris, who published the program? You're saying by the program, it's an actual published program by
There's several people. If you go,
paving groups, concrete people, asphalt people, you name it.
mm-hmm. Yes, Councilman. It just depends on how robust you want to get and how much you want to spend on a program, because there's a lot of them that are out there. The one I just looked up that I thought could potentially work for the city, the program itself was about $1,000.
So it's not very,
No.
It's not.
The-
But we don't want to buy one that is developed by Portland Cement Association. We're going to end up with all concrete streets.
Right.
You'll make that decision.
You'll make
Help
that
us
decision.
You'll help us make that decision.
If that's the
Don't
course,
buy into the wrong program.
if that's the course the council wants to go, yes.
And you're going to help, you're going to develop some budget numbers for us. I mean, you need some information from us now.
Not at this
During
point.
our entire budgeting process, at some point in time, if we're going to dedicate a staff member and we're going to send them out to gather data for a year,
Right.
give or
So,
take, right? That's what I'm hearing, right?
right. So obviously, when we get into the budget process, I will have numbers for the person to do the job, the cost for the equipment that's needed.
Right.
And then if the two choices are that you either have all the roads done by an outside agency, because they do that all over the country. They'll go out, analyze your roads, provide you the data
Okay, good.
for your
So
first
that'd be
year.
one option, the other,
That's one.
in-house is the other.
Yes, Councilman. And we'll have those numbers for you at budget time.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay? The next section that I'd like to talk about is sanitation. I don't have any slides for it. I think it's at this point, I guess where I want to go with it is the council really needs to make a decision if they want it to become fully self-sufficient and self-funded. Because my understanding right now, it is not. So general dollar funds are being used to support that enterprise fund. That's my understanding. So my strategic plan for sanitation would be for that it to become self-funded, that we would go to a volume-based system, that the city needs equipment that's going to do the job correctly. We need the right staff, and then we need the code to support those decisions that are made by council. So that's, I guess, in a nutshell, what I can tell you about sanitation. I can get you all sorts of budget numbers when we move to that direction, but I can tell you just looking at what we're doing now, my understanding is we're providing a lot of services that are being funded, I would say not necessarily by all the ratepayers. So that's really the question is, do you want to go to a volume-based system, and should all the ratepayers that use the service pay for what they receive? The other key thing is when the city purchased the equipment the last time, they bought, I believe it was 4 or 5 pieces, was 3 pieces? 3 pieces of equipment all in 1 year. That becomes very expensive 5 to 7 years when you have to go replace those pieces of equipment. Right now, you're looking at, to replace those, just the 3 one-arm, they call them the one-arm bandits or the one-arm trucks, whatever you want to call them, they're in the $300,000 to $400,000 range. That's a big hit to a system. So somehow we need to strategize on how we're going to, if that's the direction we want to move, how do you do it so it's not a hit every 5 to 7 years of $500,000? Because by the time you wait another 7 years, you're probably going to be at $500,000 for our garbage truck.
You're saying that our garbage trucks are not great?
Your garbage trucks are failing.
Okay.
You're spending more on maintenance right now than what they're worth.
Is 7 years average lifespan for a garbage truck?
The ones you're using? No, they're lasting like 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
The trucks you're using right now are not doing the job that needs to be done. If you look at some of the other cities, such as the bigger cities, they're using dual axle trucks that are rated to do the job correctly. They're more expensive, but they're going to last longer, and they're designed to do that. I'm going to leave it at that for sanitation. Any questions, concerns,
Comment?
Anybody have any questions?
comments?
Our question, I guess, recycling.
Yes?
And would you, in the budgeting process as we move forward, we've been told there's no market for mixed recyclables. Would you check on that in this process in the next month or two and let us know, if you can, regionally, if there is, if something's opened up? We used to sell mixed recyclables to Harrisonville, and we were able to reduce our volume going into the landfill, and we were able to provide curbside recycling. My constituents that I hear from, fairly significant number, I think would like to see us maintain that if it's fiscally responsible. And if it's not, I need to be able to explain to them why it's not, and I have been able to, because I've said we've lost that market for, mixed recyclables. And I know you're probably in a position pretty quickly to find out if there is.
There is no market.
There still isn't. Would you make sure that in the next month or two, keep looking? Because I think it is important for a lot of people in Sedalia to have it if we can do it fiscally, in a fiscally responsible way.
I think it's also important to also mention that we still have the opportunity.
Right, no, I'm saying mixed recycling, no, I want to make sure, that's a good point, Tom. I want to make sure if this gets out, we recycle. We have a recycling place on Ingram, and people still have an opportunity to recycle. But we started, and you probably know this, but I came on board about 4 years ago. We had a market, before COVID, we had a market for mixed recyclables, and we had just started the process. Of course, a lot of things happened no one could have predicted. And we lost that market. No one wanted to handle mixed recyclables when they were afraid of COVID and things like that. It's never come back. Chinese quit buying plastic, you name it, whatever the reasons are, a variety of reasons. But we still can recycle. We have a good recycling facility, but people have to take it out there. I just want to make sure you know that our constituents, a lot of my constituents in the Fourth Ward, and I think across the city, would like to do curbside mixed recycling again, but use the blue tubs again. So it's important, but I understand we've got to do it in a fiscally responsible way, and so if there's not a market.
So the reality is, if you really look at recycling overall, it is not a profitable business to be in.
Well,
Generally speaking, most cities lose money on recycling. It is cheaper, if you're purely talking dollars, if that's all you're concerned with, recycling does not bring dollars back to the city. It is cheaper to landfill everything. Now, I say that, but remember what I said. It's cheap if all you're talking about is dollars. Okay? I'm not talking about the environment. I'm not talking about anything else. All I'm saying is that if all you're worried about is dollars, and that's not necessarily the only thing you should be worried about, then it's cheaper just to put everything into the landfill. Now, what should we be doing? I think in mixed recycling, there's a problem, because as we moved as a nation from, the plastic milk jugs, the tin cans, the aluminum and cardboard, we said, let's just mix everything together because there's a market for it. I think we, as a whole, as a nation, we lost because it was just so easy to throw everything in there, right?
right.
And then you started getting the pizza boxes, and then you started getting the food stuff. Well, it's just my mistake. They'll catch it. It's only me doing it. Well, that's not the case. So I think we lost control in this recycling business. If you really truly want to recycle, I think it's a relearning process of going back to what things may have a market value. They may not always. You go back to the very basics of cardboard, plastics that they will recycle, typically milk jugs, aluminum, and tin cans, and you keep it at that. Everything else, you're never going to recover a cost.
Well, with the recycling of paper and cardboard, there must be a small market in that, because I see trucks hauling big square bales of paper, unless it's going to a landfill, and I can't see them baling it to take it to the landfill.
So there is a market. It goes up and down. I can tell you, my past place, when I first got there, we were probably making $200 a ton. But it fluctuates up and down. Depends on when you sell it, where you move it to. So there's a whole lot to it. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but do you have the capacity to keep the cardboard somewhere so that you are making money? Typically, the cities don't, so you're reselling it to somebody else that does have that market. Then also remember, when you start mixing, when you say cardboard, people go, well, this is a pizza box.
Yeah.
Realize that when they take that bundle to the recycler, they take a core of that recycling bundle, right? And they're going to look at it and they go, okay, 20% of this is contaminated. We're not taking it. There's no value to it anymore. So it's not just throw it in the blue bin, it's taken care of, and we're all good. There's a whole analysis to doing this.
One last point that I wish we would consider is that when we recycle, we also then reduce the tonnage that we have to pay for to put into the landfill. So when we do this spreadsheet, I want to make sure that we see that cost benefit of the reduced tonnage.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only way you can make a comparison.
Yeah, no, okay, good. I'm happy. I'm ready for budgeting. Let the budgeting talk begin.
So just to close out sanitation, we're looking, my recommendation is that it becomes self-sustained. It becomes a volume base for the people who are using it should pay for it. Okay, so here's one of the discrepancies that I see. So right now, everybody in the city, my understanding, has a 92-gallon garbage can. Let's just say everybody has one, okay? But if I'm by myself, like I am at home, I would never fill a 92-gallon cart in a week, okay? I barely fill a 32. So I think it's imperative that the city start looking at this so that the person who lives by themselves or two people, and they don't generate that kind of garbage, that you have that option to give them a 32-gallon cart or a 64-gallon cart or 94, so that they pay for what they're really, getting rid of. Because right now, this is just my opinion, everybody pays whatever the rate is, $19 or I don't know what it is. But you should have the ability to reduce it. Why is it fair to me to pay $19 for a 94-gallon cart, yet I only put 32 gallons in there?
I
So
like your way of thinking.
that's because I'm old and I want a lower rate. So that, and then being able to provide the right equipment to do the job. So those are the key things for sanitation. Let's see. I think there was this. So in mowing, a lot of things since I've been here, I came here during the summertime, a lot of things are we need to get this mowed, we need to get this cleaned up, we need to take care of the canals, we need to do all the storm drainage ditches. So this is what the city owns in properties, 289 properties. I think the next slide is probably a better one. So all those little yellow dots are owned by the city. So when you say, let's go get this thing mowed, we've got 3 people right now that go mow all those once a week in the summertime. It's amazing to me that they get it done. So I'm just giving you this information so that when you think about, you're asking, you make a call that somebody says, well, this lot needs to be mowed. Understood. But and this doesn't include the right-of-way, okay, that we're responsible for. This is just the city-owned lots. So I want you to think about this when people call up and say, well, we need to go do this in the right-of-way, or we need to go clean the canals. In the summertime, this is one of the major things that our mow crew does, is maintaining these lots, because they are the city's responsibility. And if we want, to enforce the idea that, everybody should be taking care of the lots, if the city isn't doing it, then we're kind of like the bad person here, right? We're telling somebody to go do their lot, but we're not taking care of ours. So it's just, when I tell you that, well, we're out mowing, does that have do you really have a concept of what we're mowing and the spread and where we're at all over the city and moving these 3 people out, over a week's time? This is what they're doing in 5 days.
All the little dots, but isn't that Crown Hill and then the airport's on the side?
Right, but those still need our responsibility, all right? I mean, they may not be done weekly, but some of these things, so like out at Spring Fork Lake, we just had to go clean that up, right? And that has to be done twice a year.
The spillway and, or the, dam and,
Yes. Okay, and it's not, I'm not being critical, all I'm saying is that we have a lot to maintain with a very short staff. So it's gonna be, I guess, if we're gonna own all these properties and we wanna maintain them to a certain standard, then we need the equipment and men to do that. I'm gonna end there. That's my presentation for street sanitation and all of that. So I didn't take 2 hours, department head. I gave them, told them I was gonna take 2 hours. Any questions? I have handouts if you'd like them, so you can take them home with you on all of this, or you can send me back to Idaho.
You're not going back yet.
I appreciate the time and the questions. Again, any questions that you have above this, you can call me anytime. Thank you very much, councilors.
Thank you very much.
All right, second item we have tonight is an agreement with Wilson and Company. We received a $200,000 grant from the Department of Transportation, and this is to help obtain and analyze data and prepare designs to better our streets and mitigate damages. This coincides with our, this doesn't coincide, this is part of our Safe Streets and Roads for All action plan.
Okay. I'd like to call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-208, an ordinance authorizing an owner-engineer agreement for the Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A action plan.
Second reading.
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-208, an ordinance authorizing an owner-engineer agreement for the Safe Streets and Roads for All SS4A action plan.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall. Yes. Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
All in favor.
Thank you.
Third item I have tonight is an approval of an agreement with Burns and McDonald for the aeration upgrade to the single plant.
Call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-209, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for aeration upgrades at the Central Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Second reading.
Any council discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-209, an ordinance authorizing an agreement for aeration upgrades at the Central Wastewater Treatment Plant.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
All in favor.
Fourth item I have tonight will consist of a resolution and an ordinance, and this is to approve an agreement and ratify the purchase of a boiler for the water filtration plant. We need to ratify this one because the purchase was made as an emergency purchase by the mayor, declaring it as an emergency purchase because of the freezing temperatures that we were experiencing.
Call for the resolution, please.
Resolution 2066. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, stating facts and reasons for the necessity to amend and increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-210, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and ratifying the emergency purchase and installation of a boiler at the water filtration plant.
Final, second reading.
Second.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-210, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and ratifying the emergency purchase and installation of a boiler at the water filtration plant.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
All in favor?
This item I have tonight is the agreement for the authorization of the aviation consultant. Periodically, we must retain a firm, sorry, I couldn't read my handwriting for a moment. We retain a firm for any aviation projects we have with our airport, and we also have to send that out for RFQs. And when we did that, we only had one come back with us, and that was that was H.W. Lochner, and it just happens to be the same consultant that we always work with.
Okay. Call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-211, an ordinance authorizing the selection of an aviation project consultant for airfield improvements at the Sedalia Regional Airport.
Second reading?
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-211, an ordinance authorizing the selection of an aviation project consultant for airfield improvements at the Sedalia Regional Airport.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
August.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
All in favor?
Final item I have tonight is the budget amendment and approval of the job description. I'll call us back to Director Davies and his presentation we had at the very beginning of Public Works, as well as conversations we have. This is for the asset management director position that will report directly to the city administrator.
Call for the resolution, please.
Resolution 2067, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sedalia, Missouri, stating facts and reasons for the necessity to amend and increase the city's annual budget for fiscal year 2024.
Motion to approve.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Now, I'd like to call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-212, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and adding a new classification and job description for the position of Asset Management Director.
Second reading?
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-212, an ordinance amending the budget for the fiscal year 2023-2024 and adding a new classification and job description for the position of Asset Management Director.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Oldham.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
August.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
All in favor?
That's all I have.
Thank you very much. I would please like to move to Finance and Administration. Chairman Marshall, please.
I have 4 items on my report tonight. First is an ordinance calling for the general election to be held on April 2nd, 2024 for the purpose of electing 1 councilman from each of the 4 wards in the city of Sedalia.
Call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-213, an ordinance calling a general election to be held on April 2nd, 2024 for the purpose of electing 1 councilman from each of the 4 wards in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading?
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Bill number 2023-213, an ordinance calling a general election to be held on April 2nd, 2024 for the purpose of electing 1 councilman from each of the 4 wards in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Marshall.
Yes.
August.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross.
Yes.
Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
Robinson.
Yes.
Oldham.
Yes.
All in favor?
Next is an ordinance calling for a bond election in the city of Sedalia. The North Wastewater Treatment Plant was built in the 1940s, and its technology no longer meets the state and federal requirements of cleaning wastewater. We propose spending some capital on reducing the capacity needed from excess stormwater making its way to the plant. In analyzing the master plan, along with consulting with engineers from DNR on what it will take to replace the failing North Plant, while balancing the reduction of stormwater infiltration, we believe it is prudent to combined capital budget is not to exceed $60 million. There is a program available in the state that provides potential grants and low interest loans for projects like this. The program sets aside a fund that local governments can borrow from and it gets replenished as it gets paid back. This program is called the State Revolving Fund. These are tax-exempt bonds with roughly half the current market rate. This makes it easier for the ratepayers. In order to qualify for the subsidized program, the voters must approve the borrowing. There is an opportunity to have a special election for bonds in February. With voters' approval, we can meet the deadline of March 1st for submitting our application to the SRF fund.
Okay, I'd like to call for ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-214, an ordinance calling a bond election in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Second reading? Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-214, an ordinance calling a bond election in the city of Sedalia, Missouri.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
All in favor?
My third item is an ordinance amending the City of Sedalia's sick leave buyback policy. There has been some confusion in the written policies for sick leave buyback qualifications. Staff recommends a modification to the written policy to clarify it and reconcile with the current and past practices.
Call for a reading of the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-215, an ordinance amending the city of Sedalia's sick leave buyback policy.
Second reading?
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-215, an ordinance amending the city of Sedalia's sick leave buyback policy.
Final passage? Second.
Roll call, please.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
All in favor?
And my final item is an ordinance amending the city code to incorporate the federal purchasing requirements. Our legal advisors have drawn on what they have helped with other cities and reviewed the federal regulations to draft added sections for our purchasing section in our financial management policy. As a reminder, staff and council review this comprehensive set of financial management policies each year in connection with the budgeting process, and then they are adopted by ordinance.
Call for the reading of the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-216, an ordinance of the city of Sedalia, Missouri, amending the city code and adopting the amended financial policies regarding purchasing.
Second reading?
Second.
Any council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-216, an ordinance of the city of Sedalia, Missouri, amending the city code and adopting the amended financial policies regarding purchasing.
Final passage?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
All in favor?
That is all I have.
Thank you. Now we'd like to move to community development. Chairwoman Bogus, would you please take that?
Community development has two items for tonight. The first one is to allow collector to collect special tax assessments. It's an ordinance, and we're saying, as provided by the state statute and city code, when property owners fail to comply with certain property maintenance standards, the city is put in the position of abating the condition that creates a nuisance to the neighborhood. The costs associated with performing such abatement are then charged as a special tax bill against the property to recover the public funds. Council can, by ordinance, then direct these special tax bills to be collected in the same manner as the other real estate taxes levied on the property. As we done last year, staff has worked with the county collector on logistics and recommends approval of such ordinance again this year.
Call for the reading of the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-217, an ordinance authorizing the issuance and collection of a special tax bill by the Pettis County Collector's Office.
Second reading?
Second.
Council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-217, an ordinance authorizing the issuance and collection of a special tax bill by the Pettis County Collector's Office.
Final passage? Second.
Roll call, please.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
Bogus?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
All in favor?
Item number 2 for tonight is, in May of 2021, council added to the code for licensing mobile food vendors the opportunity to obtain licenses for 3-day periods of time rather than having to pay for a whole year. A mobile food vendor license for the year is $160, and some only come to Sedalia for special events a couple times a year. So this cost is not feasible for them. Therefore, the intent was to allow them to purchase license for 3 days at a time for $25. The language was added to the code, but the amount was inadvertently not added to the fee schedule. Staff recommends approval of the ordinance to correct this oversight.
Call for the ordinance, please.
Bill number 2023-218, an ordinance amending section 12-278 of the city's code of ordinances regarding an additional fee for a per diem mobile food vendor license and incorporating said fee into the city's fee schedule.
Second reading.
Second.
Council discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-218, an ordinance amending section 12-278 of the city's code of ordinances regarding an additional fee for a per diem mobile food vendor license and incorporating said fee into the city's fee schedule.
Final passage.
Roll call, please.
Bliss?
Yes.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
August?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
All in favor?
That concludes community development for tonight. Thank you.
Next, I'd please like to move to liquor licenses, please.
We have 1 new and 2 renewals tonight. New license for Paige Shearer, doing business as the local tap at 700 South Ohio for liquor by the drink, and renewals for Kathy Getz, doing business as Break Time number 3084, 318 West Broadway for packaged liquor, and Philip Sherman, doing business as Dollar General number 19535 at 4215 East Broadway for packaged liquor.
Motion to approve in block.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next, I would please like to move to miscellaneous items from Mayor Pro Tem, Council, and I have quite a little list tonight. First of all, I would like to invite everybody to the parade on Saturday, the Veterans Day Parade. Many of us will be in that, and that's going to be great. Friday, there's the Veterans Day breakfast at the high school starting at 7:30 a.m. And something kind of exciting that we're hoping to get done this week is that we will be placing signs in honor of the POWs and MIA veterans at the city limits. And we're waiting to hear on some permits to be able to get those placed, but hopefully this week we can get those at the city limit signs. And then another item was yesterday there was a Santa's Helpers Toy Run from Cole Camp to Sedalia on motorcycles, and fire department and PD were honored because they have done that for 20 years. And so I have the fire department's plaque, and I just wanted to thank them very much for their help with that. And it's pretty cool. Everybody dresses up their Harleys with the motorcycles and ride through town, and they help keep everybody safe on their bikes, and they raise a lot of money and donate a lot of toys for kids that may not have anything for Christmas. So they both got a class like this, and it's pretty cool. So I just wanted to be sure and point that out. Thanks, guys. Does anybody have anything else?
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to say, I hope everybody's had an opportunity to drive by the corner of 16th and 65 and seen the beautiful new Scout statue that was revealed Saturday. Good turnout. The cool part about that did not cost the fairgrounds, the state, didn't cost them a penny, because the Hayden family donated all the money to have that made and shipped here and put in place. I've never seen and I'm sure the council members that were there, I have never seen a statue a bronze statue that big, so detailed. I mean, you gotta really get out and look at it. I think that will finish that whole plaza there, with the the cowboy and the cattle and the train. I think that finished it with having that Indian Scout out there. So if you get an opportunity to go by there, you need to go by there and look at it. And Bob and Barbara Hayden have done an awful lot for this community, and they never asked for a thank you. And you know, I kind of can speak my heart about to them because I used to work for them, and probably one of the best employers in Sedalia, Missouri. So if you see them out, thank them. Make sure you thank them for that beautiful statue.
I hope the mayor has a speedy recovery.
Yes.
Should I tell anything?
It's up to you, Bob.
Well, the mayor had an accident where he broke his heel, and they had to put some screws and some plates in there, and he said to let everybody know that he's all screwed together now. So I hope he has a speedy recovery.
He's home now, so we're glad. And he's going to give him a little break so that hopefully he will behave himself and recover well and quickly.
Right.
Yes. Does anybody have anything else there? Any council members? No? Okay. Now I'd like to move to good and welfare. So if anybody in the audience would like to speak, you may address the microphone, give us your name and your address, and you have 3 minutes to talk, please.
What's the matter?
Sat for 2 hours. I know. Renee Vance, 19813 Tanglemuck, but I'm here tonight as a silver-haired representative for Pettis County. Last month, I was honored to represent our seniors, 60 plus, in Jeff City for our silver-haired legislative session, in which, after spirited debate, we did come up with our 5 priorities, legislative priorities, that we are going to be advocating for. There are over 13 groups that represent Missouri, and our seniors are 1.2 million of our residents. Not all of them here in Pettis, but I did find out in 2034, the over 60 is going to be the largest voting group around. So the millennials will be moving over, and we will be the top dog, so to speak. Our 5 priorities. The first one is we are trying to increase the funding for transportation to provide additional options for services for our 60 and older. Oates is not cutting it. We don't have a bus system, seniors to get to groceries, doctor's appointments, hair, all of that. So we're trying to advocate for that. Increasing accessibility to the public buildings for individuals is our second one. As the sidewalks are great, getting them in the building is another issue. Sometimes those doors, the exterior doors, they're not even handicap accessible. So it is a priority. Our third priority is requiring special dementia training for long-term care facilities. As well, I know that half the board is at least in my corner for this. If you have your automotive technician required an ASC, there should be somebody that should be qualified to take care of our seniors with special needs. Fourth one is increasing the Medicaid personal needs allowance to $100 per month. That doesn't sound like an awful lot, but if you're on Medicaid, right now you get $50, and that's what you use for your clothing, hair, and any other products. That's not a lot. The last is money recovered by the Missouri Health to be returned to the Missouri Health Network. Right now, they go to general funds like everything else. So I know I'm over 3, but I do want to let you know that the Sedalia Senior Center has got a monthly dine-in, dine-out fundraiser on this second Sunday. We are having turkey, dressing, mashed potatoes, green beans, home desserts, and there also is another fundraiser, decorating and donating a Christmas tree. We are really trying to make that $250,000 budget. So I appreciate your support with the Senior Center. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
No. I didn't hear anything.
I'm Corey City, 1804 South Park. First is there a way for a citizen to sign a petition or get a petition signed to get a measure put on the ballot? Is there a direct way for a citizen to do that?
Madam Chairman, I would ask the gentleman to complete his comment. We're not in the habit of giving
Okay.
specified directives.
That's fine. The issue I'm here today about is code enforcement. I'm not really sure what the council's purpose is of code enforcement, but as far as I can see, it's caused the council lots of lawsuits. I don't know if they've briefed you, the code enforcement violating a warrant, entering someone's home without permission, directly violating that warrant. Code enforcement's demolished senior citizens' homes, and then even fine citizens after they've acquired building permits. All you guys' email addresses are listed, so once I accrue all the complaints, I'll forward them on to you. But that would be my request, and my major request is I have a trash can owned by the city behind my house. It's been there for over 12 months after it should have been picked up. I've called Waste Management. My wife and I have both spoken to the mayor about it. I'm told, it'll come get picked up. It's never gotten picked up. So while this dumpster just sits in my yard, it's been there for so long that people dig in it, other people throw stuff in it. It stopped being my responsibility per the Waste Management after 60 days. That's when they were supposed to pick it up. So code enforcement comes by and wants to fine me for something in my yard while the city has been taking up more than a parking space in my yard for over a year. I think this actually went a lot to, as he's speaking about, for Public Works. The citizens of my area, I live over by Katy Park, piece of property owned by the railroad. I believe one of our city council members was actually on the front page of the paper, standing in front of it because it's not mowed or taken care of. I'm fined, but that piece of property still sits unmowed. The homeowner that lives right next door to it has to mow his property and keep it maintained, or he will be fined. And per the code enforcement, they can fine you anytime without notice. They notify you only as a courtesy. And they follow a code, the International Building Code, International Residence Codes of 2015. They're referenced in the city code. There is no access to those, free access. You have to pay. So it's a pay site, or you can pay for each book, which are over $200 a piece. So maybe we can stop at the library. That's going to be my stop tomorrow to see if they can provide me a copy. But citizens are being fined per this code, directly in violation of city code, how they're being notified, how this whole procedure is occurring. It's being allowed by you guys. You guys are getting faulty information. Okay? Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Nope. Going once, seeing none. Tom, I'm ready.
Motion to close our session for legal advice, real estate personnel, negotiation with employee group, and negotiated contracts.
Second?
Motion?
Yep.
Is that, okay. I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
August?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross? Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
What I don't know, I don't have to worry about.
And what?
Yeah. Oh, well, I was gonna say, you didn't get
I took a picture of this.
Monty, if you would just stop the recording and start it again when they start the open session again.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, look, I found a hair. That's nice. I gotta read that whole thing. Oh, I don't know, do you have to read? Just like a normal, just like a normal one. You know, some places they do read the waiting on two. Waiting on two. Waiting on Bob Hiller. He probably best.
Oh, we'll be ready. Sausage.
Both. Both. Oh, the extra off anything?
Man, you just popped those out of prep.
All right, really good. Recording. Yeah.
Bob.
Oh,
Bob. About Bob.
Neil coming. So recording's going, we're ready.
You good for me?
Good.
Motion, open session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Robinson?
Yes.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall?
Yes.
August?
Yes.
Hiller?
Yes.
Cross?
Yes.
Foster?
Yes.
Bliss?
Yes.
Back in open session, pursuant to our discussion in closed session with council, the council considered a contract. I would ask for a motion to approve an ordinance authorizing that contract.
So moved. Second.
Any council discussion?
For the first reading, please.
Call for the first reading, please.
Bill number 2023-219, an ordinance authorizing a labor agreement by and between the City of Sedalia, Missouri and Sedalia Firefighters Local 103 of the International Association of Firefighters.
Second reading?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 2023-219, an ordinance authorizing a labor agreement by and between the City of Sedalia, Missouri and Sedalia Firefighters Local 103 of the International Association of Firefighters.
Final passage.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Robinson?
Yep.
Oldham?
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Bogus.
Yes.
Hiller.
Yes.
Cross. Foster.
Yes.
Bliss.
Yes.
All in favor.
All right.
Second.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Fireman Ryan.
All right. Good night, guys. Thank you.